right, all right, all right. This ain't just a show. This is a platform. Veteran built, battle tested. Welcome to the MisFitNation. Yeah! In a room, built from boots on the ground, now we breaking the rules. 2 vets, 1 leader, painting the sound, turn scars into sermons, let them echo around. Authors with truth, musicians with fire, actors backstage chasing something higher. Entrepreneurs bleeding just to get ahead. If you fought for your dream, yeah, you are what you said. If they told you no, if you still came back, if you fell to your knees but you stayed on track, this is your voice, this is your flame. Say it loud, remember the name. No salvation, just elevation. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. No damn labels, no damn cages. If you're still breathing, you belong. Turn it up. This is our song. Yeah. This is our song. Yeah. Veterans standing with ghosts in the chest. First responders running in while the world second guess. Gold star names carved deep in the soul. Your story ain't over, we carry the whole. Coaches teaching mindset, breaking the chains, turning barely alive into owning the pain. Truth over polish, scars on display. If it's real, let it bleed, that's the misfit way. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels close. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels cold. If it's heavy right now, and the dark feels close. It's Aubrey right now, we're the more than you know. Don't walk alone. Veterans press 1, bring it home. Don't trade forever for tonight. You're still needed in this fight. We are the Misfit Nation, built from scars and dedication. We rise again. From the fight to the end. We are the Misfit Nation. Every voice is fabrication. From the silence to the scream, we're strong. Welcome home, you belong.
All right. Welcome back to the Thursday after dinner edition of the Misfit Nation. We know you have other places you could be tonight, other things you could be doing, but you choose to hang out with us right here, and we appreciate that. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell, find out when we're on and what's going on with the Misfit Nation on YouTube. But before we begin tonight, we want to take a moment to honor the life of NASCAR legend Kyle Busch, a 2-time NASCAR Cup Series champion, 63 wins in the main series, overall wins leader across all 3 series, a fierce competitor, a father, a husband, and one of the most recognizable drivers of his generation. Rowdy, raced with passion, intensity, and a fire that inspired millions while leaving an undeniable mark on the sport he loved. Tonight, we send our thoughts and prayers to Samantha, Brexton, Lennox, the entire Busch family, and the NASCAR community. Rest easy, Kyle. Thank you for the memories, the battles, and the legacy. Now tonight, our episode starts with a strange question. What if peace isn't found by doing more? What if it's found by doing less? Our guest tonight is United States Marine Corps veteran, an author, speaker, and founder of Stare at the Wall. His name, Mark Blacknell. And yeah, that title sounds simple, maybe even funny to you, but behind it is a powerful message, forged through service, struggle, resilience, and over 30 years of meditation practice. He went from chasing answers to discovering that sometimes the greatest breakthrough happens in the stillness. This conversation is about mental clarity, healing, leadership, simplicity, and learning how to meet life exactly where it is. This is the Misfit Nation. Let's get into this. Welcome, Mark.
Whoa. Hey.
Go on.
I worked out earlier today, I tried to meditate through that and see how it made me feel. And man, it got me, got the adrenaline flowing there.
Got yourself pumped up now?
Yeah, I'm all pumped up.
Outstanding. We were having a great chat in the green room. We were laughing a lot in the green room about our childhoods and how your kids growing up now and suffering. You're making them suffer. I know you're such a horrible person, making them sweat and getting hot.
Yeah, the air conditioner went out in Florida, and the guy can't come to fix it until Tuesday unless I wanted to pay, a big fee for the emergency service. And I was like, no, this is going to be a good lesson for the kids.
Who's winning?
But my daughter hasn't really complained. It's my son that's doing the complaining. That should tell us a lot.
Oh, man. Wow. See, that's the whole new generation going on here. See?
No. If we're honest with ourselves, we know who the stronger gender is.
Yes, we know, and they tell us all the time. We just have to listen, and we don't do that
that's
well.
Why
either.
we stare at the wall, so we can listen.
Definitely, because sometimes we don't listen very well.
No, especially if we were in the military.
We listen, but we don't hear is the problem.
Well, yeah. If you don't have brass on your collar.
That just blinds me sometimes, so I can't see it. So.
Yeah, well.
Got to get around
it. It's a whole difference. I heard that the E clubs and the O clubs have been combined now in the Marine Corps. I was really surprised about that.
Probably in the Army, we don't even have mixed. We just have mixed clubs. That's it now.
Well, we have them now, but I couldn't imagine, the way I used to drink around the officers. That would have been nothing but trouble.
Could have been some
for my career.
You would have learned some other lessons by staring at different walls.
Yeah. Cell walls.
Yeah, cell walls, exactly. With a little slit window, maybe. To
see
somebody's outside laughing at you.
Yeah. Anyway.
So back into the Corps, did you learn about meditation in the Corps, or was it after your transition out and got into
Well, I'll tell you what, I learned a lot about meditation in the Corps, but I had no clue I was learning it.
Right. Okay.
You got to stand still. You got to be still at attention, right?
That's right.
Don't move. Hold that weapon up. You're like, oh. Hey, that's discipline, right?
Allegedly.
It could be called corporal. Maybe a little torture. I think back then, I'm sure it's still a little torture now. Marines are always like, oh, well, when I went through Paris Island, it was, but I'm sure it's still fairly difficult. But anyway, breathing, shooting.
Yeah.
It's all breathing. Laying in ambush, still, quiet. So I think a lot of that did carry over. And when I started meditating, like, not seriously. I didn't take it so serious maybe 20 years ago. So you said 30. It hasn't been 30. It's been about 20. Okay. And then I was dabbling for quite a while, dabbling with various things. So, it's been a good 20 years of testing it out. And then I would say a good 10 years of making it a routine, which is the key.
Right.
Just
did you have a specific teacher, or did you just like read ways to do it and go with it?
Well, at first it was just like a bunch of people hanging out in the kibbutz. I lived in Israel. It's a long story. And I made a little documentary there, and I was only supposed to be there for 3 months, but I stayed for about 2 years. I mean, kibbutzes are kind of, not really what you see when you think of Israel. The people in the kibbutz are kind of like artsy. They're artistic. They're interesting people. And once they got out of the military, because there it's mandatory, they would all take off to places like India and Thailand, and then they would come back and they'd be meditating. So that's where I first picked it up and started dabbling with it in Israel, of all places. You wouldn't think.
That's not one of the top ones that come to mind when I hear about it.
Yeah, when you think of peaceful meditation, but
peaceful meditation, yoga. I mean, yoga maybe, meditation no.
Yeah, that's where I kind of got the bug. Let's say I kept thinking, man, this is kind of good for me. I liked it. I didn't like it, but it wasn't like fun. But it was like there's something to this. So it was always coming up in various ways. And then, yeah, I did end up having a teacher in the Zen tradition, Soto Zen tradition. And he kept telling me, before he was my teacher, he was just this older guy that I really respected. I've been thrown out. Well, I haven't been thrown out of Zen.
I haven't been booted yet.
Let's just say, no, I'm out. I'm free, but let's say I was kind of ushered out. We'll get to that. But before I was ushered out, I had a teacher, and before he was my teacher, he kept telling me to read a book called Zen Mind, Beginner's Mind. And I was like, nah, man, I just moved back from Maui. Those people are hypocritical. Those spiritual people, they're so judgmental. They're all wealthy, privileged people, and they're judging everybody. I want nothing to do with, Buddhism or meditation or anything, even though it was in the back of my mind. I'd kind of gotten turned off when I lived. Maui's kind of like the new age Mecca, for whatever reason. I kind of got a guy from Philly, Marine. I kind of got turned off to it all. But he kept saying, read this book, man. It's real. It's real. So finally I did. And then after about 3 or 4 pages, the guy kept saying, hey, listen, just, put the book down. Meditate like this. Do it like this. And really, I'll keep talking. But all I'm trying to do is encourage you to meditate. And you're ready. You're reading it wasn't, he didn't write the book. His students took his lectures and put it in this book. His name was Suzuki Roshi. But anyway, I just started doing what the guy in the book said to do. And I just stuck with it. He said, just do it. Don't think about it. Don't try to get anything out of it. Just do it and see what happens. What do you have to lose, basically? So I started doing it. And then I asked my friend to be my teacher, and he guided me for many years. But now I'm kind of out of all that.
How did you wind up out of it?
I knew that was coming, I'm sure. I knew that was coming. Yeah. Well, let's just say I'm from Florida. Right. So I'm in a really conservative community here where, there's about 10,000 churches and one bald dude who meditates, That's me. Yeah, that's me. Yeah. And so like to relate in my community and to show people what I call, it's a gift. Meditation is a gift, really, if you bring it into your life. It's kind of like working out. You work out physically to take care of your body, which releases chemicals and helps your mind. But meditation, it kind of helps with emotions and focus, which I needed, PTSD vet. Emotions were the tough part, and focus was the tough part too, panic, anxiety, depression, all that stuff. So in order to bring it out into my community, which is mainly a Christian community, I just stopped using Buddhist terms. I just used the normal terms, with my people, right? So we call it skillful means in Buddhism, but I guess I got a little too skillful with my means. I kind of got ushered. Yeah, I got a little ushered out. It was, people are people. I don't hold any grudges. I'm not like seeing myself as a Zen rebel or any of that. And they taught me a lot. Everything I know is from them. I admit it, but I just got to do my own thing. I found that meditation is more about certain conditions that exist, in nature, naturally. Nobody owns quiet. Nobody owns stillness. Nobody owns limiting your sensory stimulation so that you can actually see what's going on inside. Nobody owns that. So it's been quite liberating to be out of that. I couldn't believe how much, and I think anyone who's involved in organized spirituality, religion, anything ought to maybe stop and take a look at the peer pressure, let's just say, or maybe the authority figures that they're following, and maybe just make sure it's going in a healthy direction there, because spirituality in its basic essence is supposed to make you more comfortable, less fearful, right. More appreciative of your life. And if your spirituality, whatever it may be, is not doing that, then I think it's probably a good idea to stop and take a look at, what you're being fed. And that's what I did. And I couldn't believe after the bullets, the bombs, the jail, the addictions, that I was actually being influenced like that. Once I got out of it and looked back, I was like, wow, I was always worried about what they were going to say.
Right.
What they thought. Who are they? I'm a 55-year-old man. I've been through hell. Why am I worried about what they think? And finally, some people call it God. I call it coach. Some people call it the universe. But the balanced voice in me said, that's it. Enough. With that. So now you practice nothing. You're a teacher of nothing. You just stare at the wall.
Damn wall.
Basically, it's Zen, though. The meditation is Zen meditation, Zazen. So I do give them credit, and I'm not angry. And it's just the way it played out for me. We all have our niche, and my niche is just to talk in plain language and not use those terms.
You're still going to the same end point. It doesn't matter the language as long as you get to the right point.
Yeah, and the point we're all going is death.
We all have an appointment. That's what that does.
Yeah, but so that is a good point, though, because I was on a Christian podcast a couple of weeks ago. It was amazing. They gave me a pass, by the way. They said, even though I'm not Christian, I'm going to be all right. I said,
you're all right.
Yeah, I said, can you put that in writing? Yes, I can take it just in case. Say, hey. But anyway, the priest, one of them was a priest, and he said, before we die, and we have to look into that cosmic mirror and judge ourselves, and God judges us. And I said, man, that's a great point, because basically every day you meditate, you're staring in that cosmic mirror. Why wait till you die? It's better to do it now. Get it out of the way. Start practicing now. And that's really what meditation is, man. You can't BS yourself anymore.
Definitely. You got to find that center and move forward and understand you and what's around you. And I think you've done great doing it, and you're living a good life, even though you're sweating a little bit, but it's okay. You're used to it now.
Yeah, just accept it. I accept this. That's it. Accept it all.
But action error.
Yeah. In terms of vets and first responders, and we don't really like to think we need help. We're kind of like we're the independent types when it comes to mental health, right?
We all think we're independent contractors in that way.
Yeah, we're not like saying to our buddy, "Yeah, man, I really need a good therapist." No, we're not.
Well, their answer usually isn't no. It's usually come on with me to this bar.
Yeah. But anyway, meditation's good because it like made me realize, dude, you're getting ready to have a daughter. You're a complete and total mess.
Yeah.
Right? Even though maybe outside you look kind of maybe successful a little, or you're this Marine that's got his crap together, but man, really you're a mess. So you got to go into the vet center that you pass every day and ask for help. And it was my daughter that caused me to walk in, and there's this guy named Dr. Evans. He's like, "What can I do for you?" I said, "Man, something's wrong with me." And that's kind of how it all started. Even the spiritual and the meditation stuff, it all started by walking in that office and asking for help. So I think that's the first step, man. Just admitting, okay, yeah, I don't have this. I can't do this alone. And then looking out into your community and seeing what resources are there, depending on your problem. Is it an addiction? Is it, PTSD? What is it? Is it genetic? There's no point in even analyzing it really, but just, hey, I need help, and then figuring out who can help you. That's the first step, always the first step.
And it's a good first step to go on and understand that raising your hand, say, hey, you when you're in the Marine Corps, they said, take a knee, drink water, take your Motrin. But your sergeant, your gunny was always around, your staff sergeant, to let you know that you were fine no matter what you thought. You were fine. They were giving you that. They were giving you meditation without even trying. But they were. Stayed here forever. And for all of us, no matter what service you're in, even on the first responder side, they're always told you're good until you're not good. Until you make a mistake, you're good.
Yeah, right. And you don't want to like show it or admit it because you could lose your liberty.
You don't want that.
Yeah. Oh man, you can't fall out. You can't complain. You got to suck it up. But when you get out, man, it's a whole different ball game. I mean, I know when I got out, oh man, I went through like 2 years. I had to have the same pistol I had. I had a Beretta in the Marine Corps, so I had to get the same Beretta, And man, I was so depressed. I really stared at that thing. I didn't stare at a wall. I stared at a loaded Beretta.
That's a way different thing.
It's funny now. It's funny. Yeah, but it wasn't funny then,
We can laugh about it now.
I was a mess, and I was like 4 years older than all the other freshmen in this little college town. Of course, I got thrown in. I watched Heartbreak Ridge, where Clint Eastwood pissed on the cop car. Well, I had the perfect opportunity where I was pissing in an alley and the car pulled up, and I decided I was going to do it. That was not a good idea. And then I got charged with like 52 counts of operating an illegal speakeasy.
What?
I decided that I'd have a big party and, because I was of age, and that didn't work out so good. But my record's totally clear. Everything's expunged.
That had to be the best charge ever read in court.
52 counts of operating an illegal speakeasy.
Wow.
Yeah, that was heavy charge too. That was I remember for the charge when I peed on the car, I got charged with public drunkenness and disorderly conduct. And I went in to the judge, Anthony Lapita, I think his name is. Anthony, if you're out there, thank you. This guy kind of saved me because I walked into his office and there was the Marine Corps. I was like, oh, thank God. So I was like, he's like, I was just going to plead guilty to 2 misdemeanors. And he's like, no, you're not. Martha, come here. Could you get him copies of the law that, public drunkenness? And then he gave me the copies and he was like, okay, I want you to study these laws and come up with arguments of why you're innocent and then show up to court. And I found out later that he hated the cop that arrested me. And that guy saved me. Imagine if I would have pled guilty and had 2 misdemeanors on. I didn't understand what it meant. Yeah. But that's one of those little things. And that was all alcohol, But bottom line is, to make a longer story short, I was a total mess, man. I was a mess for at least, 15, 20 years after that too,
Wow. And you still kept fighting, kept pushing forward.
Yeah. Yeah.
Every time you hit a wall, you kind of bounced off it and started to do more to help you. And finally, with your daughter coming, that woke you up and made you say, hey, it's time.
That was it. We all have that, coming to Jesus moment. I've had maybe 15 of them, but I wasn't really paying attention to the first 14, but I think I'm there now. So yeah, the book I wrote is basically saying, hey, I'm a screwed up dude. If I can do it, you can. And that's kind of why I got pushed out of Zen. We don't want to walk around saying we're a screwed up dude. We want to pretend we're, monks.
In the green room, we were talking about the process of the book and how you said it was really eating you up, making it and almost killing you to make it over the level. You said how many years? I forgot how many years you said, but
it took about 4 years. Yeah.
Tell about that process and how you went through that and how the meditation helped you get through that.
Yeah, that's true, man. Well, kind of what I wanted to do was just lay out, not all the stories of what happened to me, but kind of all the things that I faced emotionally and mentally, and kind of just take my mind and say, okay, here it is. And to kind of show your mind to other people to help them step into their own mind, that's kind of an abstract thing to do. That's not an easy thing to do. And I had to relive all this stuff. Okay, what voices, what there were, what feelings were there, and I had to tap into them, in order to express them in easy language. I always warn people, if you get my book, get a bottle of Excedrin and keep it next to you at all times.
Or your favorite pain medicine.
Yeah, whatever you need to get through it. It's not an easy read. It's not like coddling anyone. It's pretty rough stuff at times, So it was hard to do that and then keep the faith that I was doing something worthwhile, knowing that I was probably going to be criticized for it by, whenever you step out to try to help people, you make yourself a target. Yep. And my father was joking with me last week. He was like, Mark, you realize you basically laid out your whole mind for the whole world to see in 300 and some pages? Oh boy. Yeah, I guess I did, man. But that was the point. That's the point, to help other people, kind of catch themselves and stop and pay attention to how they feel and how they think and take a look at it, just is this really the direction I want to go, right. Regardless of how good it may seem on the surface, join my organization and we will solve everything, and we're fighting the good fight against evil. And really, you might want to stop and take a look at that before you get involved, whatever it may be.
Stay away from the Kool-Aid.
Yeah. And the Kool-Aid there's a lot of Kool-Aid.
Yes. Especially when you're following blindly into things. You got to understand what you're doing. And I like that your dad told you opened your mind for everyone to poke arrows into it. And you put it pretty eloquently there. It just like starting a show, people always pointing out faults to it. This is the fault to your show, instead of saying, "Hey, good job," you're still doing that little show. Those are the things they say because they don't want to.
Yeah, but here's the beautiful thing, though, man. Like, there comes a point. You said this is episode 650, right?
Yes, sir.
So hopefully you're at this point, and I think you are, where I don't need to be appreciated anymore, man. I'm just doing my thing. I got a niche. It's fulfilling. I help people when I can. I don't go running around trying to change the world. Yes. I just do what I can, and I don't need to be appreciated. And you know who taught me that?
Who?
My ex-wife from Israel. I was like, the decent dad. I don't want to say I'm a great dad, but I do pay for everything. Everything's always been taken care of for both kids, from $5,000 braces to whatever. And when I first started, paying for everything in the beginning of the divorce, this was 10 years ago, I thought maybe in time, she'd appreciate it. I realize I'm a good dude. Oh, no way, man. That ain't happening. So that really did teach me. Like, she taught me patience. She taught me to no longer need approval or appreciation for what I do. If you need appreciation for what you do, that means you're not appreciating what you do. You need it from someone else, If you appreciate what you do, it doesn't matter if anybody appreciates it. So they're the kind of things an ex-wife or an unfortunate circumstance teaches us, but we're not, when we're going through it, we're not thinking, oh, this is going to teach me so many great things. Staring at a 9mm. I can't imagine how much this suicidal situations get. No, you're not thinking like that. It's only when you look back, when you finally reach like a stable or balanced point and you sustain it for a while and it's real, because it took me like a year to even believe I was stable.
Wow.
And then it took maybe another 3 years for everybody who knows me to believe it.
There's no way.
There's no way Mark is really stable. So the bottom's going to fall out, and I expected it too. I was like, yeah, this cannot last. When's it, panic attack would come and I'd be like, oh, here we go. It's going to spin out of control. But then after a while, I realized, man, my stability might look a little wild to somebody who hasn't had my life and experiences, but it's stable, man, and I don't need to be appreciated because I appreciate everything my whole life, And
that's great. And even when we were talking about your kids before and how they appreciate everything you do for them and well, except your son with the air conditioning, but they appreciate everything else that you do for them. We were talking about that in the green room, and you just talking about your children, I can see you. That's your pride and joy, and you love everything about being a dad and having your son and daughter, and being able to make their life a little bit better than yours was. And we talked about that too. How if any of us said what your son said to you about the heat, we probably wouldn't be alive, or we'd be in a lot of pain right after.
It was a different time, yeah.
It's a way different time, and we evolved, and that's what you've shown through that. You were able to evolve, coming from Philly through the core, and then around the world back into Florida, you've really evolved and are doing great things.
Well, I appreciate that, but I don't need it. No, I'm
Yes.
just kidding.
All right, I'll stop.
No, but like at first, when I first was a dad doing all the dad things, my mindset kind of was, well, when am I going to have time for myself? Like when am I going? One of the advantages of being divorced and sharing custody is it's 1 week on, 1 week off. So dad 1 week, single dude the next week, 1 week dad, single dude. Well, in the old days, it used to be, oh, my week. Yeah, man. Like I'm free. Right. So it was like I was always focused on all the money and work I was doing to be a dad, and I realized in time that that wasn't really a healthy way of thinking. Like, when am I going to have me time?
Right.
That's not really healthy. And then I started realizing, man, living up to my responsibilities as a dad and really being present with my kids and being involved, it just makes me more fulfilled. So it's really for me. You could say I'm doing everything for my kids. That's a good comment. No, man, I'm telling you this. Anyway, we could talk about that some other time, but I realized that, like, when you do things, when you do the right thing and you're stable, you might say you're doing it for your community or God or your kids, but really you're doing it for yourself, And once you do it for yourself and you appreciate yourself, then I think you can serve your community and your kids and your country and everything else even better. But it all starts with, making your responsibilities like something you look forward to doing because it's good for you, and it helps others, It's nothing like making the world around you as stable as it can be, We only control so much, but it's a good feeling to feel stable. It's just simple stability is like, wow, this is just unbelievable. I'm not worried. I'm not stressed out. I don't have to lie to anyone. I don't,
I could just be. All right.
Yeah, I can just like enjoy whatever I can. And I don't walk around happy and, in bliss all the time. I try to tell people, man, this meditation thing, you can really be in the moment. You can be present. And that's all well and good in the good times. But if you're getting tortured in a back room, you don't want to be in the moment. You want to, you need to get away, So even the moment has its limits, And sometimes being really focused like that and admitting to yourself certain things, it's hard, man. It's not easy. It can be very unpleasant.
Oh, definitely.
Because you're not sugarcoating and making, justifications for everything you do wrong. When you do something wrong, you're like, oh, crap, man. You own up to it.
And that's the big thing, owning up to it and then learning from it and don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Well, for me, it's don't do it again. Okay. Now don't do it again.
Don't do it again this time.
Well, if it's little, you can get away with it. But the big things, don't do it again.
Like,
the little
don't open the speakeasy again.
52 counts. And you know what I did too? I was so stupid. It was the state police LCB, right? Liquor Control Board.
Oh, wow.
And let's just say these guys were desk law enforcement. And let's just say they were not taking care of themselves so well physically. Well, stupid Marine was like, don't you guys have PT standards?
Oh,
so they were like, oh, we're going to hammer this guy. Oh, God.
Now.
That was not a good idea to mess with them like that.
I win.
Yeah, you can't fight the law. You can't fight City Hall.
No, not at all. Definitely.
Uh-uh.
That's not a good idea. Not a good plan. Not a good game plan.
Not a good game plan. No, it's not even worth. I'm at the point now where if I can't do something to change a situation, I got to accept it. I can do my little part.
Right.
But really, I found I had to pick my causes, because if you got a million different causes, you can't really do anything. All you're doing is just talking about it,
We got some questions from the audience that have come in.
Oh, wow. Oh, boy. About my ex-wife?
No, I don't. Not this one. Slammed again wants to know, when was the last time you sat in silence without distractions?
Oh, that was today.
See that? Easy one.
Yeah, man. If you set time, aside each day, it's kind of like if you have your morning coffee at 8:00, you just sit without distraction at 8:00. But the thing is, distractions will come up when you're meditating, when you're sitting still like that. The thing is to just watch them come and go, and then they're no longer luring you in. Distractions are totally fine if they're not getting your attention and you're not following them. That's the key.
All right. And this is a pretty neat name, from Burn Book Victim. Why do people struggle with stillness today?
Oh, well, that's a big question. I think they always have, but I think nowadays, man, we're inundated with information, and it's kind of like, I think people are afraid of it.
Yeah.
I really do. I think they're just like, their nervous systems maybe have gotten so activated that I used to, this Kung Fu master, he said, "Hey, man, my students are very active. Can you come and teach them meditation? Because I want them to learn stillness." I was like, "Man, you're wise." But the studio was between a nail salon and a flooring supply company.
God.
And there was this big window. It was like a strip mall. And I would sit there. Sometimes people would come, sometimes they wouldn't. But I would sit there. As soon as 12 o'clock came, I would go silent and still and just sit there. People would look in. The girl with the nails, she'd be like, some of them would look like they saw a ghost. I mean, they would get scared.
What's wrong with him?
Well, first they would think, is that a statue? Is that like a real dude? Not saying I'm sitting like a statue for the Zen people out there. They'll be like, "Oh, he's saying he sat like a statue." No, but I was sitting pretty still, and some of them would be like, "What the heck is he doing?" And then I would have like people come late, for the class, and they'd be looking at their phone, and they'd have their mats, and they'd look in and they'd see me, and they would just walk away. So I think that's a good example of how maybe sitting still can scare us, because everything comes up. You can't like run from it anymore, It just, you got to face it. And that's kind of scary at first. You get used to it. Yeah. It's like prolonged exposure therapy. I went through that, like where you relive the traumatic events over and over and over again. Well, after you did it 50 times, it wasn't so intense anymore. And it's the same thing with stillness. It's intense at first, but if you practice it, just like if you practice your golf swing, sooner or later, you'll be able to aim straight.
And maybe hit that little ball.
Hey, man, come on now. This is a family show.
Sorry. This one's coming from Dinah Clip. Can simplicity become a leadership skill? Thank you, Dinah Clip.
Oh, man. Dinah, you're going to like the book, man. I call it Radical Simplicity on a Molecular Level. It really is a leadership technique in the sense that if you can be clear-minded and a problem arises, especially between people, it's never easy, you know. The more calm and clear-minded you could be, the more simple you can see the situation without all your opinions and preferences and I'm going to fix this right away, all the unrealistic expectations we have, all the opinions, all the baggage. If you can see it clearly and simply, that's a powerful tool, man.
All right. That was these are the easy questions for you tonight. This is good. Some people, you know, they slip up.
I've been doing this for a while, man.
We're all over it. All right. If I can find this next one, there it is. This is from Full or Part. How does mindfulness help people after trauma or service? Thank you.
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the main thing it can do is, like I said, get you to stop. Because like when I got out, it was like the energy, the mindset, the chemicals, the adrenaline, my nervous system. You know, I'm not a doctor. I don't really get into all that. But all I can say is the feeling came with me. And it was intense. If you can stop long enough to take a look at it, you're going to probably come to the conclusion that you need some help. I think that's the value of it, man. Just coming to the conclusion that I can't do this alone. I need some help. That's always the first step. And it's the hardest one. It seems simple, back to simplicity, you know?
Right.
But if you have trauma and you have PTSD and it's affecting your life, that has to be number one priority in your life. It can't be put aside. And the longer you put it aside, the bigger the problem becomes. That has to be addressed when you get out, before you get a job, before you get, you know, make that your number one priority. Now that's easy to say because we all need to pay the rent, stuff like that. But it's got to be your priority in your mind, or at least in the back of your mind, kind of like meditation was with me. You know, it was there. It wasn't the priority.
Right.
So, but sooner or later, our mental health has to be our priority, you know, because you can't really appreciate your life or live it to the fullest until all that tension and those bad, man, I had bad feelings. Wow. Like, you know, bad feelings, man, all day, every day. That's not a good way to live. I look back, I'm like, I can't believe I lived like that. I can't believe I didn't pull the trigger, you know? I mean, looking back now, I'm like, you should have just pulled the trigger. You know?
Again, we can laugh
like,
about it now.
Yeah, it's like, how did you live like that, man? But that's the beauty of it. If you can address it, make it your priority, you'll look back and you'll say the same thing someday, and you'll be the better person for it, and you'll understand what it was all about, and it all makes sense. And then you'll help other people, and there's nothing better than that.
Definitely. 100%.
I'm getting a little teary-eyed here.
Use your towel. Wipe it off.
Yeah.
There you go.
No, man, that's heavy stuff, you know? Because that feeling, I just felt it, you know, when I was talking about it. I remembered those days, man. They just came back.
See, and I like the Beretta 9 from the military because it was simple. So the simplicity of the Beretta was nice.
Well, yeah, it was.
I went after.
I'm glad you pivoted.
Yeah, pivoted from that. Thank you.
Yeah, you got out of that.
I got you into the simplicity. See.
Thank you. Yes, the Beretta.
Into the question from my brother here: is it bad that he's most zen when driving?
No, man, that's a good point. Whatever it takes. But driving is, a lot of people mention that, and when I'm driving, yeah, I'm always like, wow, this is a lot like meditation. The cool thing about driving is, though, it's different than meditation because there's a lot of movement going on. So it can help you focus. You know, if you're just focused on your rear view mirror, you're going to crash. If you're just focused on your radio, you're going to crash. You got to be focused on everything when you're driving, man, especially if it's like down here in tourist season when everybody's like 75 and older. You know, it's pretty crazy driving down here. Yeah. And I drive this huge bus. I don't know if I think you probably saw it. I volunteer to help seniors.
Oh, wow.
It's just a niche. I help death row guys too. I don't know if you read that. Like
Seen
this
that on your website.
yeah, it like branched out. My meditation branched out to all these different ways. But when I'm driving that bus, man, you got a busload of people. You got traffic. At first, when I first took the job, I was like, oh my God, this feels like I'm back in the Marines. Like I was getting stressed out. I was like, I was thinking about dipping again, you know, like I need some Copenhagen to deal with this.
Wow.
No, the PTSD, man. I was like, oh my, this is intense driving this bus. People are yelling at you. You got wheelchairs. You got people, you know, having accidents in the bus. You got to clean them up. It was heavy. But now when I drive it, I'm like, oh, this is great meditation practice, man. You know, I got to pay attention. Really do. Yeah, you get yourself in a jam if you crash that bus, that $250,000, $300,000 bus.
A bunch of old people that are going to yell at you the whole time for doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, I mean, if someone got hurt, well, they do. They're like, yeah.
It's wrong.
Are you going the speed limit? You kind of drifted into the other lane. Are you aware?
Stuff like that.
They're hyper focused on you.
See, that's the cool thing about when you meditate long enough, everything becomes meditation practice. It's right. Like it's really cool. But yeah, driving, good start, man. Focus on your breathing, pay attention, and then maybe sit in a chair and stare at the wall when you get home. And hey, if you got to pretend you're driving, whatever it takes.
Wait.
Yeah, a new meditation position. I'll get in big trouble though if I start advocating that. Okay, put your hands on the steering wheel.
3,000 years of tradition you're breaking.
Out the window.
Out the window.
He told me to hold the steering wheel and meditate, not to pay attention. Yes. What? Well, in context, he's in North Jersey driving, so that's
oh man,
like
yeah.
Philly.
That's good practice there, especially if you could stay calm, regulate your breathing, keep those shoulders nice, man.
Not curse at every other driver. Good.
Yeah, it's good stuff. No, but really, it can be really good meditation. I mean, it's not perfect because of all the movement and stuff. Really, what you want to do is totally limit your sensory stimulation so that you have to watch you kind of like a Netflix series, man. You want to do some cool stuff. Try that. Stop everything. Go still and silent. You know, you can go on my website if you want to see how to do it and just watch yourself. You're going to be blown away. Because we're a little bit more than we think we are. Yeah, when we're always rushing. Right. When we stop and look at ourselves, we're like, whoa, man, we're like part of this whole universe, dude.
Hey, man.
Our families, but don't go telling your family, you know, that you're part of the universe. They might not like that. Maybe they will.
To a doctor.
Yeah. That's the mistake I see, though. People start meditating, you know, and then after a month, they're born again. You know, telling everybody how wonderful meditation is, and then people are like, "I think Bobby stopped taking his meds, or he joined a cult."
He's on the blue pill now.
Yeah, my mother was like, "I don't know. I think he's Hindu, or maybe he's Muslim. I just know he's not Jewish anymore."
He left us.
He's not Catholic either. I don't know what he's calling himself these days. At first it like bothered me, now I think it's hilarious.
She still loves you. So.
Yeah, man. Like you
matter what
can't
you
expect your family to like totally accept. They've known you your whole life, and now you're into this whatever it is, and you expect them to be like, "Oh, Bobby's into whatever. He's a Christian now. How great!" No, they're not going to believe it.
Painting happy clouds.
Yeah, it's so fun. They're not going to believe it. It's going to take about 3 years for them to believe it.
Yeah. And even
then,
then,
and then they'll still call you Hindu or.
Definitely that generation. So yes.
Yeah, I got this one a lot. Wait a minute, you're not charging money? It's not legitimate. Like, yeah, like unless you're charging. That generation, like, unless you're charging,
it's not real.
It's not real. But you know what? I told you, my parents and my family, they're believers now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, man.
Even though you're a Hindu, but it's whatever.
And that helped me get past, like, I don't need approval or appreciation from anyone, not even my spiritual tradition at this point,
Right.
It's a good feeling to be liberated like that. And you're not going to go to hell.
There's probably plenty of other things you've done to get there. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. Not that. Not thinking for yourself is not one of them.
That's not the top of the list of the ticket to
No. I always think if, I die and turns out God's one God or another that I would be like, hey, man, look at your followers. You can't blame me.
I didn't do it all.
You can't blame me. You wouldn't believe it either if you were.
If you had to live down there, you'd
yeah, I think sense of humor is big in the universe, in the cosmos. If you meditate, you start to see how absurd this whole thing is. We're like these little people worried about the price of gas, our bellies, worried about this and that. And we're on this tiny little planet in the middle of this endlessly dark, violent universe, and we're just thrust here. We don't choose who we're born to. And then, like we're culturally indoctrinated and we go through all this stuff. And then it's like sooner or later I came to the conclusion, like, first of all, this is all a miracle. How the heck am I sitting here on this planet? In this universe? Yeah, like how did this happen? This is a miracle. I'll never figure it out. And then the other thing I realized is it's funny. Like we're trying to make sense of all this. Every generation, from thousands of years, they had it all figured out. The next generation, a couple generations, well, they had it all wrong. And then a couple generations, they had it all wrong. And they go, can't we just admit we have it all wrong now? Save the yeah, can't we just admit we don't really know much, We're
all trying to figure it out every day. So.
Which is the funny part. It's so cool.
And we all get up every day and still try to do it again that day. So as long as we're still doing that, it's awesome.
Just keep going. One breath at a time. That's what I say.
Outstanding. So, Mark, we've talked about a lot over the last hour here. So, what's the best way to get in contact with you? Is it your website or is it somewhere else?
Yeah, you could go on stareatthewall.org or even the book. Like I took a little risk here. I put my personal email in the book.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, as long as you respect my boundaries and you don't do anything crazy, maybe I'll work with you or I'll send somebody good to you to work with you. So stareatthewall.org, you can reach me there, or blacknellzen@gmail.com. And I answer, maybe not right away, but be persistent, and I'll help you out if you're serious.
And there's testimony from Wayne right here. And look, he was
That's
on death
Wayne. He's on death row. I'm always careful about talking about him out of respect for the victims' families, because
Right.
They're number one, and he realizes that now. After I've worked with him all these years, he realizes he can't even believe he did it, really, to be honest.
Right.
But
and he was probably young when it happened, I'm guessing.
he was on meth, and then he got in prison, and he had that prison mentality where somebody disrespected him. But I've seen a complete change in that guy. I think he's on I Am Killer season 1, episode 3 or 4 on Netflix if you want to see him. And you can he's embarrassed now because he was still kind of hardcore, and he doesn't look too good in that episode, but the guy's completely changed. I was just there last Saturday, and I think it's probably the most goofy, stupid prison photo ever taken in the history of humanity. We both look goofy, just, and like I said, out of respect for the victims' families, you got to be careful, but.
Definitely. But at least you're giving them a way at the end to show them a better way.
Yeah.
They know their time is up, or it's on the clock right now, since we're on death row after all the appeals or whatever goes on there, gets them through. But they know they're not getting out of there no matter which way it goes. So it's
because
that piece.
I got thrown in county for a violent felony. Now it's all good. I did the right thing. Record's clear. You can search me up. I'm good. My record's clear. But when I was in there, I was meditating at the time. I taught a lot of the guys in prison to meditate. I was only there for a few days. I didn't even know I could get out. I didn't even know the process. They were like, "You got money?" They're like, "You got money? What are you doing here?" We're here because we don't have $500, so we got to stay here for 9 months till we go to court. But if you got the money, you got a credit card, they're like, "You can get out right now." I'm like, "Really?" Nobody told me that. They just threw me in. But anyway,
tell you all these secrets.
They were calling me the little Buddha, because I was showing them how to meditate. And then I heard their stories. A lot of them were mentally ill. I mean, it was obvious. A lot of them were addicts. And then the rest of them were completely uneducated and in the system since they were kids, basically. So it really opened up my eyes, I was like, I want to go back in and work with these guys. And that's how I ended up doing it.
Nice. So you found a purpose and
turned it around. Yeah. Took a really terrible experience. My arm was broken. My arm was like hanging.
It made it better.
I turned it around, man.
Turn that thing around.
That's the key to it all. Turn it all around.
Yes, sir.
I call it compassionate karma or revenge.
Nice.
Compassionate revenge, not the typical revenge. It's revenge when you do the right thing despite all the bad stuff that's happened to you and all the people that have done you wrong. You do right just to get back at them, That's the kind of revenge I like.
Nice. Keeps it. That's a lot better, I think. Yes.
Yeah, a lot healthier.
Yes,
but you can still use that, that juice.
Yes. The competitive juices flow, and
whatever it is, that anger, you can turn it in a good direction.
Definitely. And that's a great point. Keep it in that right direction. And my last question for you tonight, Mark, before we sign off, this is probably the hardest one you'll have all night. What's 3 things the Misfit Nation, our audience, can start doing tomorrow to be better people?
Stop.
Ooh.
Just stop your life in its tracks. Maybe you're driving. I don't advocate that. I would suggest that you sit perfectly still, at least in a chair, and just take 5 minutes and see where you're at, and just take a look at what's going on without judging. Got to be careful. You could end up coming to the conclusion that you're a real loser in those 5 minutes. That's not going to help you. But just take 5 minutes to stop and see where you're at, see what it feels like to be you without all the blah, 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 blah. What does it feel like? Are you comfortable in your own skin? So that's number one. Number two, appreciate your life. Tell the people around you that you love them. Pay attention to the little things, when we're always in a rush, or we're always trying to do something, or we always have plans, or we always have goals, or sometimes we miss what's right here. This is a beautiful, beautiful opportunity in a chaotic, violent, dark, endless universe to have a little bit of stable ground and some light. This life is beautiful. It's never, ever too late to start appreciating your life. It's number one, man. We got to appreciate this. You don't want to die angry. You don't want to die with regrets. You don't want to die with hate in your heart. You want to die, man, thank you. It's over, but thanks. It was a good run while it lasted. Number three, I would say, addictions, man. There's a lot of addictions nowadays. Some of them are internet. You could be addicted to the internet. You could be addicted to porn. You could be addicted to the classics, the alcohol, the drugs. You could be addicted to shopping. Online shopping now, and people are addicted to. There's so much there's so much temptation and distraction, and everything's at the touch of a button. Why cook healthy food when I can order out? Yeah, I'm paying a $10 service fee plus the tip, but I don't have to do anything. I just have to push the button.
Yes.
That could be like these food services. They could be an addiction now. Anything can be an addiction. But if you have a habit that you fall into, like whether it's deep down inside, whether it's good or not. How does it make you feel? Like when you do it and then you're done, how do you feel? Like stop and just check out these routines and these habits you have. And maybe just change one thing. Just change one thing.
Yeah.
And that could redirect you in a different way. There's cause and effects for everything. If you make one little change, it's kind of like if your whole house is a mess and you clean out a drawer, you might feel a little better and maybe like clean up the sink now. And now I'll go clean up the closet, one little thing at a time. So just change one little tiny thing in your life, like stop and change it and see where it leads. You never know, man. That could be the start of it all.
3 great things, Misfit Nation. Mark, thank you for sharing them with the Misfit Nation. Guys, gals, listen to these words. Get those in your mind and start doing better things tomorrow. Mark, thank you for hanging out tonight and dealing with this hard show here.
Thanks.
I'm glad you had a good time. We had a good time.
Yeah, it was fun.
Remember to get on YouTube, share this out, make sure other people see this episode. And also remember, if you feel the darkness caving in on you, don't make a permanent solution to a temporary problem. I know it sounds very petty for me to say it's a temporary problem. I'm not in your shoes, but I do want to see you tomorrow. Tomorrow's 100% better with you in it than it is without you. Call 988. Go in your wallet. Pick out that little paper I tell you to put in there with 3 names on it. Call those 3 names. They want to hear from you. Everyone wants to hear from you. If all that doesn't work, contact us. info@themisfitnation.com, jake@themisfitnation.com, or steven@themisfitnation.com. We will get you on the phone. We will keep you on the phone until someone local can make sure you're all right and you stay with us for the better part of the rest of our lives. Till next time, be humble, stay hungry, keep hustling, because we are.
Thanks for checking us out and being a part of the Misfit Nation show. Don't forget to visit our website at themisfitnation.com. That's themisfitnation.com. Check out all our past episodes and get some of the great Misfit Nation gear for you and your family. As always, be humble, stay hungry, and keep hustling, because we are Misfit Nation. Misfit Nation.